So we've made it all the way up to chapter 21, Trump reducing plays. I guess sometimes after two clubs we can land in two hearts as well. Yeah, that makes sense too. Okay, but yeah, we're up to our very last chapter, and we've been working at this for quite a while now. I really appreciate everybody who's stuck with us and been working through the book and like making all these sessions as good as they have been. So let's go ahead and finish up on a strong note and talk about a little bit more stuff that we haven't seen before. So if you haven't seen card play technique before, this is our last session, but all of the ones that we have done are going to be available on YouTube. Right now they're up through chapter 9, but once we finish with this one, I'll make sure to actually go through and finish doing the editing and get the rest of them uploaded. And I'm also going to be making all of the PowerPoints that I've put together available, and then we are going to archive all of the comments and everything, the discussion that's happened on Discord. So all of that's also going to be available for people to go back and look at and use in the future in case they want to make it available. This has been a lot of fun, a lot of stuff to be learning. It's also been challenging, I think, especially for me. There's been a ton of stuff in here that I've never heard of before, never seen before, and it's been really nice, like, having everybody here helping me, like, get through this material. I just want to thank everybody one more, like, I'm probably going to thank everybody, like, just a ton of times throughout all of this, because it's really been, this would not have been as good as it was without all of you. Okay. Whoa. This is not right. Hold on. There we go. Just an extra slide in there. Okay, we got a little bit of a false start, but we're gonna go. Let's move my head so I'm not in the way. Okay, so Trump reducing plays. So the idea here, if you haven't seen a Trump reducing place, a good example of this is something called a Trump coup. We'll be looking at a couple of these, or a grand coup. What happens here is if you have, this is a situation in which having too many trumps ends up being a very bad thing. If you have, these are situations that come up when the only loser on a hand is in the trump suit. And so what having too many trumps does in this situation is it can end up forcing you to be on the lead at the wrong time, and it will force you to lead from your trump holding into a tennis. So essentially, like, you're getting in-played. You're being forced to take a bad action, and it's because you've had too many of these trumps on your hands. It turns out that there is an easy solution to this, and that solution is get rid of some of your trumps. If you can reduce the number of trumps that you're holding down to the same number as your opponents, and you have an exit and a side suit, what you can end up doing is essentially finessing through the opponent with all the extra, the opponent that has all the extra trumps. And so what this ends up working like is like, it's like you're taking a finesse without actually taking a finesse in the suit that you're doing it in. You're using a side suit to force the opponents to use one of their trumps, or allowing you to get rid of, you're leading from the right hand at the right time. You're keeping yourself off you're not letting yourself get put into a position that is bad for you, and you're forcing yourself to lead away from it. One of the key things about this is that you need to have lots and lots of entries. If you don't have enough entries to get back and forth between your hands, then you're not going to be able to get rid of your trumps, because one of the only ways that you can get rid of your trumps is by roughing cards. So you need to have enough entries to go back and take all of those extra roughs that you need in order to shorten your trump suit. This works just as well for the defenders as it does for the declarers, but it's a lot harder to spot, right? Because you need to know that either you or like both you and your partner need to know that the opponents might be trying to pull off a trump reducing play. You need to know that it's possible for you to pull off the trump reducing play. And we need to make sure that we are keeping side suit entries available. We're making sure that we're not keeping too many trumps in our hands. We might need to be on the lookout for places to under-ruff our opponents. We might need to under-ruff the opponents, yeah, or we might need to ruff partners' winners in order to get rid of those extra trumps. Doing this on defense is a lot more complicated, at least in my mind, right? Because you're having to work with somebody to pull this off. But we're going to look at an example of this. We're going to look at a couple of examples of doing this as declarer. We'll look at an example of doing it as defender, and show exactly what this means. Because right now, I don't think I've done a great job of explaining what we're doing here. But hopefully it's going to be pretty clear once we look at an example or two. Okay, so to do that, let's go ahead and take a look at our first example. So we're playing in a six-spade contract, and West is starting off by leading the ace of diamonds, and then they go ahead and they play another diamond. So they play the ace, and then they play another one. And then we start off by playing 2 rounds of trumps. You see we have an 8-card fit headed off by the ace, king, queen. If they're split 3-2, we're golden. We just play them from the top, and there are no problems. But we find out very quickly, on the second round of trumps in fact, that the trumps are not split 3-2. West actually only shows up with 1 spade. So now that we know the trumps are 4-1, we have an issue. We don't have any more spades left in the dummy. We don't have a way to finesse through this position in the position that East has anymore. This feels very dangerous. We've already lost a trick to the ace of diamonds. So what can we actually do to make our contract at this point? So let's take stock of how, where things stand. So in the diamond suit, West started us off with the ace, and then they played a low one. We came up and we won that with the queen and dummy. So we still have the king of diamonds hanging out as a winner. Then in the club suit, we've got an 8-card fit in clubs. So we potentially have a whole bunch of club winners here, and especially important is the fact that we have ace, king, queen. The other thing that we can notice about that club suit is that it's much longer in the dummy than it is in our hand. So we have like a nice unequal distribution here. For hearts, we have the ace, king, and then we have a card that we can ruff. So if we're looking at this, the only place where we can possibly lose tricks are in the trump suit. We have to make sure that we're not going to lose a trick to the jack of trumps. So I've kind of spelled out all of the hand. I've put out all 4 hands. So we're looking at this kind of double dummy, and the ones that are in parentheses are the cards that are technically still hidden. Like we know that East has the jack 7 because we can count out the cards that have been played. We know that they're split 4-1, and we know that there's only 2 left. So we know what West is holding on, what East is holding on to in the spades, but we don't necessarily know that the only cards that they have left are hearts. But what we want to try and do at this point is figure out a way to shorten our trumps, reduce them so that we have the same number as East. Right now we know that East has 2 trumps. After we've played off our top 2, we have 4. If we can get rid of the 2 that we have, and then we can play a winner from the dummy, we can force we can force East to either play, we can force East to either ruff, which we can then over ruff, or we allow ourselves, we can get rid of our loser, we can get rid of our last hand, so that we can never, we never have to lead through, we never have to lead away from our tennis position. So let me try and show what the position actually looks like. Our big thing that we need to do here is find a way to get rid of our extra trumps. And the way that we're going to be able to get rid of those extra trumps is in that club suit. So we've played 2 rounds of diamonds so far. We've played 2 rounds of trumps. So at this point, what we want to do is go ahead and start attacking the clubs. So we play our 2 rounds of clubs, and then we can ruff a club. We're going to ruff a low one. We're going to hold on to that queen, which is a winner. So East has the choice. They can ruff here, because they are showing up with only 2 clubs. But if East goes ahead and makes a ruff, then that solves our whole problem for us. So East can't ruff here. So we go ahead and ruff a club. That shrinks us down, so now we're down to 3. Now we can pass back up in the hearts. We can ruff another club. This shortens us down to 2, so now we're only down to 2 trumps left. We've reduced our trumps to the same number as our opponents. We play up another heart, so we use our last heart. And at this point, our position should look like this, right? So I'm picking it up at the, so we're in our hand right now. We play our 4 of hearts up to the king of hearts. And now all we have to do is play the queen of clubs. We play the queen of clubs, and if West doesn't ruff, then we discard our winner. We're gonna discard this king of diamonds, which is good. And the reason we don't want the king of diamonds is because we don't want to be forced to lead away from our hand. We can't take a winner with the king of diamonds. The king of diamonds is no good to us. We need to get rid of it. So we play our queen, and assuming that East doesn't ruff, which would be bad for them, like they're just giving away the game, we get rid of our king of diamonds on that. And now we play another club, and or we can play a heart. It really doesn't matter what we do at this point, because the only cards left in our hand are the spades. So we're going to get to ruff, and we're going to, and the key point here is we're going to ruff after the hand with the remaining spades. At this point, with the only 2 cards left, there's no chance for us to, we're going to get to cover whatever East shows up with. So what we're doing here is trying to take a finesse when we don't have any cards to take a finesse with. We're reducing the number of trumps that we have down to the number that our opponents have, and then we're using our side suit winners to either force the opponents to take a ruff or get rid of our own winners so that we don't have to ever play those winners from the wrong side. We want to keep taking our winners from the right side and force the opponent, keep leading through the hand that has all the danger. I think this is a really cool technique. It's something that I think once I started seeing a couple of examples of it, I was like, yeah, I've seen this before. I've lost to these positions before, where like the trumps have shown up with a bad split. I don't have enough entries to take all the finesses I need to take. There's probably a good chance that I've played hands where like these trump reducing plays would show up and be useful. So I think I thought this was a pretty interesting one. Actually, like when we were just playing casual bridge on board number 1, I was thinking in my head, I wonder if there's actually a way to do a trump reducing play. It's like I found out very early on that the trumps are split. We had like the 5-0 diamond split. I was trying to figure out if there was a way to like reduce my trumps, but I don't think it quite worked on that one. But it was immediately coming to mind when I saw like those bad distributions and bad splits. So let's take a look at another example. We're just going to take another look at 6 spades. We're not going to make anything too complicated. And Wes is going to start us off with the jack of clubs. And so we don't have much options here. We're just going to go ahead and win this one in dummy with one of our high clubs. And then we're going to lead off with the ace of clubs. So we find some pretty bad news at this point. There's a 5-0 split, and East is showing up with all 5 of the spades. This is a problem. We don't have enough spades for us to be able to finesse enough times to take care of to get rid of all the cards that and to get rid of all the losers that we have in the spade suit. So we need to try and find some other way to, so that we can only give up one loser to East. So we're just going to go ahead and do, let's go ahead and take stock of things. We see we've got all of the top cards in diamonds. We've got all of the top cards in hearts. We've got all the top cards in clubs. And we know that we've got a 5-0 split in the trump suit. We know that after we've played off the East, we've played off the ace, that East has 4 left. And we have 5 sitting in our south hand. If we can find a way to reduce our trumps, we might be able to go ahead and pull off our, we can pull off the trump reducing play that we're talking about. And fortunately, we have a nice, we have a possibility. We have our suits are not equally divided. Like our diamond suit gives us an opportunity to reduce our trumps. These are words that I'm trying to say. Okay. So if we win our first trick with the ace, we win our first trick with the club, then we play off the spade. At this point, what we need to do is try and start attacking, we need to start attacking the diamond suit, and use the diamonds to start reducing our trumps. So we're going to play off the 2 diamonds, then we're going to use either the clubs or the hearts to pass back up to our other hand. We ruff a diamond. Okay, this reduces our trumps, so now we are down to the same number of trumps in both hands. We want to, let's see, we're going to need to take another spade. So we're going to play both of our spade tricks. So we'll play the ace king. And then we're going to, let's see, are there other winners that we need to worry about? I think that kind of brings it to us, right? We're just going to play off all of our, we're going to play off the clubs, and we're going to play off the spades, and then as long as, and we're going to play off the hearts. We're going to use the diamonds to ruff. And that should hopefully leave us in a good position. So let's skip forward to show us what happened after we played off the spades, we played off our clubs, and we played off the diamonds. So let's go back and forth to make sure that I've talked us through this the correct way. The goal is to end up in a position where the only cards that we have left are our 3 spades in both hands, and we want to make sure that we have the same number of spades in our hand as the opponent, as the same number of spades that we have as East has, and we want it to be in the dummy hand when we take our last move. We want to play a card from the dummy that's going to force East to give us an over ruff. So if we play off all 3 rounds of clubs, we play off the 2 rounds of diamonds, including a ruff. Then we play off we play 3 rounds of hearts, and we play the 2 rounds of spades. That gets us to this in position here. And as long as we're in the dummy hand, we can play a heart, and it's, well, we can play anything at this point. And it forces East to come up with a spade. We get to get the over ruff at that point, and then we can play the king and concede the last trick. So these 2 examples have something in common, which is that we don't have enough entries to take the finesses that we would like to have. And this one, in this example, you can be in your own hand too. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so we can play, at this point, it actually doesn't matter who we lead from. Like, we can play this queen, and if East comes up with the 10, we can let East have the 10. Like, we can concede that trick to them, effectively in playing them. Either they have to play the 5 into our tennis, or they have to lead from their hand into our tennis. So we can either over-ruff them, or we can let them have the trick and let them play into our in position. This is an example where things are a little bit looser. But they have something that what they have in common is that we don't have enough entries. We don't have enough cards in our trump suit to take the finesses that we would like to have. So we're trying to set up a way to take a finesse without actually having the cards to take the finesse. So if we can reduce, the key parts of this are taking all your side winners, making sure that you're ending up in the dummy hand, and reducing the number of trumps that you have so that they're the same as the opponents. Okay. Let's take a look at how this, an example of this from the defensive side. Okay, and to change things up quite a bit, we'll be in a part score. Our partner's gone ahead, our partner sitting east has opened up with 1 spade, and then south overcalled 2 hearts, sorry. Then we passed, north passed, and partner says nope, they double. And looking at king, queen, jack, 9, 3, we go ahead and convert it. Just starting off, we go ahead and play the king of hearts. The declarer goes ahead and wins that trick with the ace in hand, and then they start playing on the diamonds. So I think I've set this up. Okay, yeah, great. So hopefully okay. I'm trying to figure out how I've set this up exactly. Okay. So declarer is going to start playing all the diamonds. If we're looking at this hand, we know that we're going to take a couple of heart tricks, hopefully 3, but maybe only 2. And then partner's showing up with points, so we're hoping that partner can come up with some tricks of their own. If we can take 3 tricks in our hand and partner can take 3 tricks in theirs, then we've gone ahead and set the contract. So we, like I said, we played off the king, then declare showed up with the ace of hearts, then they start playing on the diamonds. They play the king of diamonds, then they play the jack of diamonds up to their ace. So they played those 2 rounds of diamonds, and then they went ahead and played the queen of spades. Your partner plays low, declare also plays low, you play low, so the queen of spades holds. And at this point, the declarer goes ahead and roughs a diamond. Then they play the ace of spades, and then they play out a small spade. So our question here is, like, we're pretty sure that partner has the king of spades. In fact, we feel positive that partner has the king of spades. So the question is, do we let partner's king of spades hold the trick, or do we do something else? Thank you so much, Nook. Appreciate it. So what we need to figure out here is, what exactly is the declarer trying to do? Why are they playing the hand in the way that they're playing it? So we know that there's a bad trump split for them. They know that there's a bad trump split because partner showed up with none when we led off the king of hearts. We know that they've set up, let's see. We know that they've taken no diamond losers. They've taken through, they've played the ace and the king, and they've roughed the diamond. We know that they haven't touched the clubs, so maybe like partners' points are showing up with clubs because we've seen no points from partners so far, and we know that they have to have values somewhere. And then what it's looking like is that the declarer needs to make sure that we don't take 3 tricks with our hearts. So we need to be paying attention. We need to make sure that what we don't do is let partner's spade hold. If partner's spade holds, nice. If we let partner's spade hold, that means that what we did at this point is we discarded a club and we left ourselves with 4 hearts. At this point, we have more hearts than the declarer will. So when partner then goes to start playing with their cards, what is very likely for partner to do once their king of spades full is for them to play off 3 rounds of clubs. They're looking at the ace, king, queen. They're probably just going to play them off 1, 2, 3. And when they play that 3rd round of clubs, that's where that's the danger, right? We were forced to rough it, and now we have to lead away from our queen, jack, 9. We have to lead into the opponents. And when we lead into the opponents like that, we're guaranteeing them a trick that they are not supposed to have. And once we do that, they get to make their contract. So this is bad. We cannot do this. We need to be aware that the opponents are trying to pull off this trump reducing play. We need to be aware that if we don't pull off the trump reducing play, then we are in a position where the opponents are going to get to benefit from it and make a contract that we should be taking down. So what we can do instead is rough opponent's winner. Rough partner's winner. We don't let them play off the king of spades, and we go ahead and take it. Once we do that, now we can safely exit clubs, and partner can play all 3 of those clubs. They can play off those 3 club winners, and then they get to play from their hand. They're essentially doing this trump reducing play. They're playing through the danger hand, and now the opponent has to play their trumps before we play ours, and so we get to take our 6 winners. Going back to one of the hands that Keith posted a while ago, anytime you're becoming trump tight, you should be wary of something like this happening. Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. If you're getting reduced down to the only cards you have left being trumps, that's a great time for you to start looking for ways out of this. Is there a way that you're essentially going to get in-played in the trump suit and be forced to lead away from what should be winners? So yeah, I think this is a little bit more difficult to do when you're on defense because it requires both you and your partner to be aware of what's going on. but it is doable, and it works just as well on defense as it does declaring. Okay, let's try doing one problem, and this is going to be it. Okay, we're gonna finish off with a grand slam. We're in 7 clubs, and West is gonna start off with a small diamond. We're gonna win this one in our hand with the ace of diamonds, or the king, whatever we want. And then we're gonna start by playing off 2 trumps. Again, we have that 8-card fit in trumps. If they split 3-2, we're gonna be in great shape just playing ace, king, queen. We find out that they don't split 3-2. They split 4-1 when West shows out on the 2nd diamond. How do we make our contract? I'm going to give everybody a little bit of time to think about this. Look at the hand, figure out what's happening here. And then we will feel free to post your answers in chat, and then we'll talk our way through it. Got it. Okay. Okay, so I've given everybody a chance to try and work their way through this one. So let's take stock of our position. We've got a spade suit where we've got a bunch of top winners. In addition to those top winners, we have a nice unequal distribution between them. So that could give us a potential way to shorten our trump suit. We have all the top hearts, but they're equally divided. We have a diamond loser, which seems unfortunate. We got to make sure that we take care of that. The spades are going to give us a chance, though. And then we also know that East is showing up with 4 clubs. And they've shown 2, so they have 2 right now. So after the first 3 tricks have been played, we're down to... we need to figure out how we're going to set up this trump reducing play. We know that if we just play out all of our winners right now, what we're going to do is end up in a situation where we're forced to lead away from our queen 10, queen 10 of clubs, which are probably going to be the last 2 cards we have. So what we can do instead is try and reduce our trumps. So we want to start working on this spade suit. We can play up to the spades, then we can make sure we get rid of that diamond loser on a spade, and then we want to ruff a spade. So that's going to bring us down to 3 trumps. Then we want to cross back in our hand, and we want to ruff another spade. This is going to reduce us down to the same number of trumps as our opponents. And now that we have, let's see, we still have 1 more entry left. So what we can do at this point is we use our last, we play off our last heart. We play, and then we play up to our heart. We use our last heart entry. And now, I think, nope, I did not put in the position that we're going to end up on. Sorry about that. But once we've played off the 4 rounds of spades, including 2 ruffs, then we've played off 3 hearts, and then we've played off 2 rounds of diamonds. What we're going to be left with is the, we're going to be leading from the queen of spades, and it's going to be leading into our final position, which is just the queen 10 of clubs, and our opponent to the east is going to be sitting on the jack 9 of clubs. And that's going to force the East to ruff before us, and we're going to get to over-ruff them and pull off our Grand Slam. Okay. With that, we are finished. with card play technique. We only have one problem for you today because that's what I got prepared. But I think we have made it through quite a lot, from like the benefits of not playing your high cards all the way through like these more complex things like in plays, squeezes, and trump reducing plays. We've looked at a lot of things from the declaring side of view, the defensive side of view. Overall, I would highly recommend this book. There's a lot of material in here and a lot that I have still, a lot that I did not take in that it's going to be worth a second read for sure. And yeah, I think this has been a lot of fun. So thank you all so much for being part of it and for making this a success. Okay, we got more comments. If you don't catch the second top diamond early, then East might pitch a Doubleton diamond when you're roughing spades. Ooh, good point. Yeah, so before we start doing all of the, we need to make sure that we're taking our side trick winners before we start doing all the roughing. So that way we don't end up in a position where we accidentally get roughed, where one of our winners gets roughed, which would be pretty bad. Okay. I think we're gonna call it there.